The sacred geometry of relaxation. Now, this may not be the right wording for a scientist to agree with sacred geometry, but when you get into words, thoughts, and patterns, there's geometry that you don't have to put into numbers, okay? When I'm saying patterns as in physical representation patterns, I mean, they're all in shapes anyways. If you really want to try to line them up and shape them, you can shape everything, but there's a dimensional shape that people don't understand. Dan sees, but can't put it into words because there are no words for it. Anyway, the dimensional patterns that other people would say are machine elves, or they're fairies, or they're just miracles, or they're just divine entities, or they're God, or whatever people call the word, say the idea of relaxing in the spiritual, literal, this is the answer to sacred geometry's version of relaxation. Okay, a person who's stressed out thinks they need a cigarette to relax, so therefore a cigarette relaxes them. A person who's physical and exercises thinks that exercise relaxes them, so they go for a jog and they believe that it relaxes them, and guess what? They relax. A person who thinks that a cigarette isn't enough, so they need to improve it to the next thing and go up to marijuana or go up to something even harder or go to alcohol and think that they need that to relax. At first it does, and then they realize somehow that didn't help them relax anymore because they realize that it's in their mind, but they're not saying this yet, and I'm not trying to tangent too much or tangent too much. When I'm God talking, I'm tangenting. When I'm Dan talking, I'm tangenting. So, anyway, when people have, let's say, religious things, if they need religious things, they're a religious person, and they pray, and that relaxes their mind. See, if they get super spiritual and they get all worked up around other people and they believe that the only reason that most people hang out, I mean, I'll do this later too, the explanation of why monks and people like that sometimes go off and stay by themselves and try to work as a unit together because they realize something. And they've even realized this with, the group meditation and stuff like that. Yes, they're starting to get it, but it matters on if everybody there believes that it deeply enough that that's actually working. But some people do, so it works a little bit. Think about it. If everyone there totally believed and can get in the same vibration, which they're trying to do and they're trying to explain, but they're not understanding it completely. Like they say, I am God, but they're not really trying to see what God really is, like not the word God, but what we refer to as God and all those other names, what it really is. So since that name was the strongest vibration that I could find in the astral world, that would take me to God. Even people that go to the astral world don't ask for God. Even ask like William Buhlman or whatever, the specialist on God. Even ask Monroe. I don't think he's still alive actually, but like Robert Monroe, no, he's not alive. He's not alive anymore. That's a physical expression of God. So I know that, but at the same time, I had to think about it because Dan doesn't know whether or not Robert Monroe is alive or dead. But now he realizes that Robert Monroe has to be dead because God says so. Anyway, and if Robert Monroe is alive right now, don't die because Dan doesn't know for sure, but God thinks almost beyond a doubt through Dan's mind that Robert Monroe is dead. So anyway, the Monroe Institute, that guy, ask William Buhlman, ask all the people, ask all the other people out there, even the mystics, ask them if they went into a vibrational state, believing beyond a doubt, and saying the word God either out loud or in their mind, and saying the word frequency, God, or in their mind, silently say God, right now, 3, 2, 1. If they do that, that frequency is the most prominent thing that led to the most prominent thing in the astral field of sound. So Dan found that, and he followed it up. Instead of getting fascinated by what was all around him, he kept following it up. So, anyway, we'll explain that later. Get back to the sacred geometry of relaxation. So that person that sat on the hill, or that spiritual guy who needed to do that, their idea of relaxation only came when they could silence their mind because they didn't use drugs and they didn't have time to exercise because they were too busy in their spiritual practice, whatever. Whatever you use to relax yourself, you got to understand that while you're walking around, you can easily relax yourself the same way. Think about it. To disprove or not prove, because I'm not trying to prove, to give divine proof to what I'm saying, is right now while you're walking around, think about something that makes you angry, but not enough to get you too angry, and then think about something that makes you happy. Enough to make you happier than angry. And then realize, if you think about relaxing, you can relax. That's why it only takes 1 or 2 breaths to relax. And the people got there to understand that, but they really didn't call on God at that point. And I know because I'm God. And I know that they didn't call on me with enough vibrational belief for me to come to them, like Dan did. So that's why I'm here in Dan. non-stop for the rest of his life. And the rest of his life will be eternally, or until he wants to go, or until someone who doesn't believe in him comes and kills him, because he doesn't know how to defend himself with his energy yet. But he's doing that with words, because words are the first form of energy, and action is the next. Well, belief is the strongest, but we can't really explain that until you really until you really understand what belief is. Anyway, later, y'all. Peace.